the meeting to order at 6:33 p.m. on November, where are we today? 11th. Ask for approval of the previous minutes.
Aye.
You have to move.
I move that we approve previous minutes.
Second.
Adequately.
All in favor?
Aye.
It's unanimous. And we're going to go for public input of anything we should be talking about tonight. So if anyone has public input, please raise your hand and we'll call on you.
Are people here?
Would you mind, I don't know, I can't find raising my hand yet, but would you mind telling us who's in your room, in the meeting room?
Oh, sure. Oh, you want to go around? Who's here? Just tell us who.
I'm Malcolm Bryant.
Sven Vivo.
Jeff Collins.
Liz Morrison Howe.
And Vicky Alani with the task force.
Samiksha Paudel from engineering, Town of Concord.
And nobody else from the public. So the public is what you see on the screen. So are there public?
Thank you.
Dan had his hand up.
Dan, were you asking to speak?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, hi. I didn't know how to raise my hand digitally either. Could you hold on 1 second? Yeah, sorry, my wife is watching from a separate computer. We're getting a little feedback there. So I just wanted to note that I did review the basis of design report, and I did have and I created a series of draft public comments and questions about it, and did have an opportunity to go over those with the NRC.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that one of the sort of overarching comments that I want to make in general is, in the meetings that I've been attending, and I certainly haven't attended all of them, including this subcommittee, but the ones I've attended, I'm under the impression that the subcommittee is proceeding with the assumption that the conditions presented in the alternatives analysis, specifically the stream channel alignment, the 4.5 acre pond, and having those features be navigable to paddling and small boats, and also having the channel water depths be consistent with the fish passage requirements. So I think you're proceeding from the assumptions that those conditions will exist. And I don't believe that the basis of design report supports that. And in part, given the physical conditions that we have out there within the impoundment area, it's a very flat hydraulic and topographic gradient. We have a good idea of the flow coming down the watershed. And, there's a possibility that I guess my first question is the town going to commit to achieving those conditions that are presented in the alternatives analysis report, specifically the stream alignment, the channel, the water depths? And if they are, that would, very likely have to be done through an engineered and constructed channel and pond. But the current proposal and the basis of design report is to just, breach the dam. The dam removal is shown on the 30% drawings, and then let natural erosion occur, and whatever you're left with, you're left with. And there is acknowledging uncertainty, there is a reasonable chance if you do that, you will not have a 4.5 acre pond. And there's a reasonable chance you won't have the alignment where it's shown on those drawings. So that's my first big comment. And then my second comment is just, hopefully you will get clarity and confirmation from the town as to what types of water depths are anticipated. Because based on the sort of proposed channel dimensions and the basis of design report, as well as the flow data that we have through stream stats and the United States Geologic Survey, I think over at least half the year, the flow is going to be result in very, very shallow water. You know, really consistent with what you see in the Neshoba Brook downstream of the dam.
Mhm.
So, you know, I'm just kind of throwing that out there. I guess I will submit those comments. Um,
Yep.
but I think it's,
Thank you.
you know, I
And
feel strongly you got to get confirmation of what they're going to build, because if we go with just natural erosion, we're probably not going to achieve those conditions. Thank you.
yeah, you said you submitted these to NRC, so have you submitted them to the task force, your comments and findings?
No, you know, I did. I mean, I'm just you know, just confirming I'm just a public citizen making public comments here and asking questions, but some of them were technical in nature. So you know, I think it's to have the opportunity to go to NRC and work some of that stuff out, I think is better.
Okay, well, we have to figure out on the task force how to share it with the whole task force, so we should talk about that. Okay. Anybody else with comments? Thanks, Dan.
Well, I also have not yet found the, Lorraine Armenti, I haven't found the electronic hand. So thanks for recognizing me for a minute. I am following a lot of dam removal across the country and on social media, and the Massachusetts Association of Conservation Commissions has done tremendous work across the state on remediation projects. Strongly in favor of removing the dam and grading the area where the dam is now. And my comment is, I think as long as you are referring to this location as a pond, which it is only a pond because there's a dam,
Mhm.
there's a trap of not understanding that it's a wetland. And it's become a pond because of an outdated infrastructure that's deteriorating and backfilling with invasives and other problems. So if you're interested in the natural, you know, support of the wildlife in Concord, the town already has a boat launch in two other places. So these goals of athletics and other types of earlier usage or future usage for canoes and kayaks and fishing sounds to me like development, not supporting a Great Meadows scenario. So that's all I have to say. Thanks. And I grew up in West Concord. I don't live there now.
Mhm. Where are you? Sorry, we didn't get the address, Florian.
I grew up in West Concord on Bayberry Road. I haven't lived there for a number of years, and I live in Ashland now.
Okay.
And my comments have been written onto your website, so
Perfect.
it's in there.
Thank you. And Pamela?
Pamela Dritt, 13 Concord Green. I recognize that people feel very strongly on both sides, particularly, oh, we have this pond and we've had it forever, or what feels like forever to the people. And they don't want to lose it, but the science shows that we already have. It's not going to stay like that. All around the country, rewilding of our places is the right thing to do ecologically, and it's the cheapest thing to do financially. The amount of money it would require to be spent to maintain the pond as it is a pond, that's not even considering the ecological damage that are externalized by doing so, that we wouldn't have to do if we let it get back into a wetland, is extreme and ongoing. It's a financial and ecological trade-off for what people want. We should default, I think, to the kind of land that will protect us from climate change, and that is the wetland.
Thank you, Pamela. Anybody else? There are no other comments. We will go on and there will be public comment at the end also. So,
I just have some, I want to say one thing, just that the public knows that the task for this subgroup is just to focus on dam removal. We are not deciding
that's right.
which scenario.
That's right.
So I think for public comments regarding which scenario or which option to take, the meeting of the Cornerstone full task force, the next one is this Wednesday,
Mhm.
is most likely the better audience, because we are just focusing on dam removal.
That's right. As a proposal.
As a proposal.
That's
So
right.
we are not making comparison with
Yep.
the other ones.
That's right.
Vicky, do you want to, for public benefit, just, explain again sort of the
Yeah.
role of these three committees?
Yeah, so it's a good reminder. So we are the dam removal subcommittee of the Warner's Pond Task Force. We are here to pull together a proposal to the main task force for consideration. And the whole task force will then decide on what to recommend to the NRC for the project that we have been considering for the past months. So that's what this subgroup is focused on, and we appreciate all the public attendance and comments, and we will move on to our next agenda item, which is
The sheet, going through the.
going through the proposal.
Sorry, I was trying to find the proposal.
Okay, so Malcolm, how do you want to start this?
Me?
You were the owner of this document, the most recent, right?
Recent hands on it. Everybody
Yeah.
had good input. I just
Yeah.
want to also, sorry, with Prelude say, I feel bad if we've not fully included Sammy and these various drafts, et
It's
cetera. but-
okay.
You did get a
Join
copy
your-
of this draft.
I did,
Yes,
on Thursday, so
Yeah.
I went
Uh-huh.
through it. quickly.
so it's good to have you here.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you, thank you for including.
Yeah,
I-
you should
I
feel
didn't
free
do
to come.
anything,
Yeah.
because I think I joined the task force freely, it's some
Yes.
kind of like, oh,
Yes,
so
We-
thank you for connecting me.
We went through the first section of this proposal with a pretty detailed I don't know, microscope or whatever at the last
Yep,
meeting. They have made few changes more based on input than anything else and some of the other things that have come up. The first is that I took out that original bullet set of bullets, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and everything, because we had written this text to cover all of those
Mhm.
instances. Vicky, you had raised somewhere that we mentioned complete removal
Yeah.
of the dam, and you commented that we're not doing full removal of the dam.
So when you go through the 30% report, they are leaving portions of the man-made elements that were put in as part of the dam project. They said they're not going to remove the island and the piece next to it. They're leaving those pieces. They're removing the from one point to
You're right. You're
another.
getting rid of the berm, but the little one in the middle, is that what?
It's a big, yeah, it's a big piece that stays. They're not removing, and then you'll get that round little area of water that collects next to the dam. That will all stay because they're not removing anything that creates that. They're just removing. So right now, I don't know if anyone has a picture of the dam, but right now what happens is we have the dam, and then there's an island, and then there's this circular piece, and there's some stones that separate this a little bit from here. They're leaving this piece and the stones, and therefore this piece, all the riprap that goes here is all remaining. So whatever was created from here to here is not being removed. It's this
The
that's
berms
being
are here,
removed.
is what you're saying.
There's berm here. Yeah, I
Yes,
don't.
yeah, I'm sorry, I don't have.
Well, I mean,
No, 'cause it's
that's simple, because all we need to do is take out complete.
Yep.
And then say removal of the dam. As out was, so here I said,
Yeah, that one.
removal of the dam is outlined on page 3.1
Of
of
the
the
report.
30%.
Perfect, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
There, I think twice it said complete. I just
Yep.
want to make sure it's clear
Yeah,
that
the next.
where people like you who live right there will be like, wait, they didn't finish. So,
I was so focused on the berm, like the big berm being removed, that's like, oh, this is gonna be so sad when our hill is
right,
done.
well, you won't, you'll have that hill, yes.
No, the
You're
berm is gone.
saying This is remaining?
Let's see, sorry, can you zoom in a little bit? So this is the dam right here?
Yeah.
Yeah, this all stayed.
No, I think they said the berm is coming out. What-
Who has the
Which-
30%
which-
report?
Are you
It's 3.1,
saying?
is that what you
Who
said?
has the 30?
I have it open now, I can't. mine-
Is that the
I
30?
can't, sorry, I
Yeah.
have to break
Yeah, they have a
it.
drawing. No, they'll go to the drawing.
Go to the
See if I can
drawings.
Yeah,
open
because
it
they
there.
go to the
How
drawings
to
at the
read
end.
Bill
that
and
show-
Julia, hold on a sec. So
Yeah.
there's
See
a
it.
folks online who are watching, we're referring to a 30% basis of design plan and
It's on the task force
reports.
website, yeah.
These are on the Orange Pond Task Force website, the town's website.
Yeah.
For
It-
those of us here, we received an email from Delia on September 26th with a link to that page.
If you're wanting to
30%
follow
removal
along,
plans.
yeah, that's what I have.
Okay.
open. If you're wanting to follow along online, it's the Warner's Pond website. On the sidebar, there's dam removal information. And then the second bullet, sorry, the first bullet is basis of design report.
No, you want the 30% plans.
I'm lying. 30% design dam removal plans, which is the second bullet, and that's what I have open. I don't know why I
If you go down to where they're actually showing the removal plan.
design drawings.
Yeah, there.
Oh, there we go, and I can see these.
So here it shows.
Yeah,
what's being
existing
removed.
earthen berm to be removed.
Yeah,
Could you put a link in the chat for us,
Oh, yeah, that's a great idea.
this stays, okay?
please?
Computer.
Okay,
It does.
sorry, what is the link?
I'll just email it to you.
Okay,
What
thanks.
you're looking at online so that we can find it without.
I'm asking for the link
We're
so
not.
that I can put it
Oh,
in.
you can- Malcolm's the only one online, so we have to futz a little bit.
You've given it to me here?
I
It
just
should be
I
in an email.
emailed it to you because that's,
Uh,
I have delay on, sorry, so I can undo. There we go.
oh, well, somebody's got it.
I put it in. I'm a member of the public. I found it.
Open the piece.
Yeah, it's now there. I
Yes.
will.
But this is the hill.
Right, but this is the piece I was talking
Yes,
about, because
okay.
it's right in the middle.
Yeah, okay. No, but when you were like the hill, no, it'll be there. It will not be there because that berm is leaving.
Oh, no, I didn't say hill, yeah.
Okay.
So it's
Yeah.
this piece that's right in the middle.
Yes. Okay.
Stays.
Okay.
It
Yes.
attaches to the dam.
Yes. This is
So
what I.
the piece that goes from the dam to earth on the other side stays. It is not removal of this piece or
The
the,
whole berm and that.
Yeah.
this piece
But
stays
now
right
we have
here.
a little line.
And all of the riprap and all this riprap. So there's a bunch of stuff that stays.
So we're gonna
This-
keep-
They're removing the piece that holds the water back.
Including here something.
Why won't you just zoom? Because it makes you big. So yeah, so the big berm that is near the wooded area, that
Right.
goes.
That's right.
The dam goes,
But the piece that's in the middle,
but the piece
that's
that's in the middle.
attached to where the dam now
Yeah,
attaches.
but and then the spillway dam also.
the
does.
That's right.
I guess so much of that is actually natural.
I don't think any of it's natural. I feel like I remember that from the 2003 report. I mean, the dam inspection report. I'm not
Yeah,
100%, you'd want to confirm that, but I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure I remember seeing that.
So
that was-
beyond the, for the precision of language, which
Yeah.
we want to get right, does anybody have new concerns or does this reveal concerns about the 30% design plan in terms of?
I don't know engineering wise what this means. I'm, I'm also concerned about the water depths that Dan has mentioned, but that's separate from this. It's more of,
So,
right now, there would be no water in there.
Okay.
so, Sammy, you're best at reading plans, I'm sure, but it looks like the area that one walks out on currently, that's sort of from the public access coming from the north side. That would be removed.
That's right.
And sort of.
So there'll be an island in the
Create a
middle of
flow.
water going around it, I guess.
So as you head south, that whole thing is removed, that the dam section is removed.
Mhm.
And then the island
Mm.
must be the remnants of a natural feature or something, but whether or
I
not
think so.
that.
It's hard to tell because I think that's where
most
one of the
that
pipes goes
remains.
down.
Because they certainly, on the spillway, somebody pointed out that they'd had to, blast
It was on the berm that-
bedrock out, so it's entirely possible there was bedrock.
That rock there, so,
But, I mean, it's all speculation.
yeah,
Mhm.
We could consult with someone who could actually tell us.
And then that more southerly dam structure, that all
That
comes
will
out
go to-
and that
Yes.
is regraded back into,
Yes.
yeah.
And
Yep.
they would take the whole thing down to, I think it's 150
15, yep.
feet or whatever. Yeah.
And then this riprap on the south, this area that in the plan, well, that's just shown as proposed temporary site access road, so no grade changes over there.
Yeah.
In the sort of the middle part.
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay, thank
Right.
you. Sorry,
So-
Malcolm, that was your
No,
question.
That's fine. I had also mentioned that we will apply for financial assistance from both federal, state and private sources.
Mhm.
The other stuff is pretty much as we had said. I made a qualitative thing to say that the costing of $500 to $1 million over the next 50 years was an estimate
Mhm.
by EA and gave the reference for that.
Could I interject something at this point, Alvin? Under restoration, sorry, we're about to get there, but last time in a couple conversations, I've suggested that we be a little cagey with the name of the rare species that's in
Mhm,
the
yes,
Pond
yeah.
Brook area.
Yep.
Yes.
It's a turtle, it's a highly collectible turtle, and in some situations, people like to just sort of say,
Mhm.
nothing to see here.
Yeah, right.
But I spoke with Brian Windmiller, who's lives here in Concord, and he's an expert herpetologist, et cetera, works at Zoo New England. And he said, I don't think there's a problem
Oh,
talking about that
Great.
in public situations.
That'll
But I
be
know that
helpful, I think.
it's important so that people
Yeah.
aren't just like, what is this
Yeah.
ghost?
I know. It did
Easier
feel a
to-
little,
Yeah.
it did feel a little secretive. Yes, so that's great.
So if necessary.
glad.
Yeah.
We can talk about.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
And that's useful because actually there's a chunk of money available to restore wood turtle habitat.
Okay.
Which, so, yeah, we go on there. Now what? Okay, so I guess this is going to be a bone of contention. The UVicky
Mhm.
Which
rays.
section are you in?
Yeah, wait, I feel like mine looks different than yours. Which file are you, what?
Which section are you in?
Sorry, improved recreational amenities.
Okay.
And this is a version that
This
Malcolm
is-
sent.
This is the
Yes,
version I
the
sent.
newest
Wait,
one,
did
yeah.
I just,
Which
wait,
I
hang
have
on,
that,
I don't
yeah.
think I have that one open. I think I have the newest one.
I have
think
it open.
really-
It was-
Oh,
On the
Sammy, I
8th.
need to get, sorry.
That was on the 8th,
I'm
I
gonna forward this to Sammy to make sure. Apologies.
You have it?
I have the older one.
Oh.
With the older one.
Oh my gosh, I have one. I'm opening the one from Jeff, yeah.
Sent to me
Yeah,
before.
because I'm sorry.
You don't-
November
I sent-
8th.
I thought I
5:52
included you
PM.
on
This one.
the mailing list for it.
That's right, on November 8th.
Was it sent Friday?
Thank you.
Why am I else another one?
It doesn't.
Oh, right, it's done in pages. You can't open it.
No.
All right, I'll
It's
save it right now and send it.
Oh, this is
So we had originally had the phrase bullet point, safe and sustainable water access to Scout Island.
Mhm.
And Vicky raised the issue of how long in the year is that water access going to be available? And I am not too sure that this is something that we can deal with in this group.
Mhm.
It's clearly something that is coming up
Mhm.
in terms of very categorical statements from people that, you know, fish passage is going to be a problem and there won't be enough water and whatever. But there's a lot of evidence to the contrary.
So I don't think we can answer it because.
So I don't-
yeah,
that's what
because we
I'm
can't say it, I
I
think.
truly
To
don't.
leave
think we
ourselves,
can answer.
again, one of these, let's not leave ourselves open to criticism on things that we can't 100%.
I disagree that this does not leave us open to any
I
criticism,
should say,
to simply say.
at
"Hey,
some points in the year, there will be safe and sustainable, because sustainable
No.
sounds like it's always there. Water access sounds like there's water there.
It's not meant to be that.
Well, that's what it says.
It says that the access is sustainable, that it will be there. And I
I
mean,
think at certain times of year, that's all you would have to add to this.
I disagree.
If you go to Neshoba Brook today,
Yes,
there is 6.5 inches of
In the-
water
in the lower part of Neshoba Brook.
right next to Commonwealth Avenue.
Absolutely. If you go to the upper reaches of Neshoba Brook, you can navigate it right up into Fort Pond Brook, up to the Beaver Dam, and you can go well up Neshoba
Right,
Brook.
so when we lower the pond by 5 feet, there will not
We will
be.
not be lowering the water level in Neshoba Brook upstream by 5 feet.
Okay, so there's an
can disagree.
engineer who has looked at these.
Yep.
And comes to a different conclusion than some people here who are not
And we
engineers.
paid a lot of money
Yeah.
to hire an engineering.
And they did not come to this final
And
determination.
we need to follow the advice we have from the engineering.
They did not come to a determination of the water depth.
Yes, they did.
They did not at this
They
area.
absolutely did.
And what was the depth? In the summertime.
They state,
Can you pull that report?
In the basis of design.
and the basis of design report, they state that the channel will resemble, I can't remember the exact words, but will resemble the upstream, the up dam, up reservoir portion of Neshoba Brook. And they then did detailed measurements of the width of the channel and the depth of the channel.
Hang on, I'm just going down to try to find
Oh,
where I can see where that is.
We can put it in and there will be people who will put this into question and ask
And
these
if we don't
questions.
put it in,
I think
there
you
will
put it
be
in.
people who will raise
So
questions.
what I'm saying is put it in, but say at certain times of year, there will be safe and sustainable water access.
And
to
what
Scotland.
I have said is safe and sustainable water access. However, water flow data from Neshoba Brook, we can expect the access to be available in all but drought times.
Okay, well, what is he? Okay.
And we are currently in one of the most severe fall droughts that Massachusetts has ever experienced. I do not recall ever having red alert warnings and bushfires
Yeah.
all over the state. So this is not a year that we can use to say, this is what it will be like every year.
I do want to play a little bit of a devil's advocate about that one statement, which is that we're talking about the impacts of climate change in other places. Drought is also going to be, so I think we can't say like, this is an anomalous, I mean, it is an anomalous year, but at the same time, we have to recognize
It'd
that.
be more like this.
But
could be.
last year
Yeah.
was one of the heaviest
Yeah, yeah.
rainfall
I
periods.
think
So we have,
there's a little bit of back and forth,
I
but
totally agree.
I think, I just want
I
to,
think with the footnote.
yeah.
With the footnote that references the drought conditions. I think it's clear, we will, with climate change, we will have more extremes. That's where we are,
On both ways.
on both ways.
So
That's all it
what
is.
I'm just saying is if I'm Scout Island and you're saying it's a safe and sustainable water access, and let's say 5 out of 10 years we have drought and 5 out of 10 years we have extraordinary floods. So 5 years, I'm like, this is awesome. And then I have 5 years where I cannot get to Scout Island. I'll be like, wait, what? You guys told me I was going to have sustainable water access. And we need to say what we know.
We do.
Yeah.
We say the
In the
access will not be there in droughts.
Okay. I don't know why we can't make it part of a sentence instead of making it a footnote. It is part of what we
We
know.
will say safe water access. Better?
Yes, and with the footnote.
And with the footnote.
Okay.
But
still
I
don't see it in here.
really,
Yeah, I
can't
do
find
remember
it.
reading something about that, but I can't remember where it was.
Related to,
The depth and
Yeah, that's what.
Yeah.
different
What-
times
what
of
the-
year.
It was-
What it would look like.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the sense is, so let's kind of re-envision the system. All of that water comes in at the northwest corner.
Yep.
And that, as we know, goes through in a day, right? So what comes in
Right.
goes out, so we flow through reservoir or run of river reservoir, so. So the channels, as it says in the, as I recall, the basic design report, should more or less resemble what's to the
Yeah.
west side of
Yeah.
the things until it's constricted by the.
Yeah.
by the bridge and the Shannon
and
Road.
right, and the lower section I mean, if you look at it, it is full of man-made obstructions.
Yeah.
You know, there's a bridge, the Pale Factory Bridge, which essentially creates another dam,
Mhm.
followed by that artificial channel that comes through that is full of rubble and different things. And then after you get after that channel, the brook opens up until it hits another obstruction at the Bruce Freeman Trail,
Mhm.
where it actually does create a dam. So there is no question that that lower part of the Neshoba Brook under current conditions is not navigable in any way whatsoever. It could probably be made navigable with a lot of work and digging and.
Right, well, that's not our
That's not
thing.
in our
Yeah, that's
scope.
not our thing right now. So let's keep
Yeah.
going. Yep.
And. Okay, we can come back to that
Okay.
later.
Where did it go?
Didn't we say, sorry, I'm long.
Now you're on improved access is the,
Improved access. Where did we have sorry.
yeah, yeah.
Where
What are you
did we
looking for now?
raise the thing that we will restore the channel?
I think it's much later, right, where we say
Yeah, okay. Sorry,
how we're
I'm
gonna do
just
the work.
lost now.
Mhm.
Mitigation of
We just went over the
Tune's
improved
financial
recreation.
impact. Yeah, okay.
This is 1.9 there, limited dredging, sediment removal.
Where does that come in? Sorry, I ought to be better. Yeah, oh, so that's
Yeah.
further down. Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
But before, where you, then before you get to, are you gonna be above or below number 6 to Roe Park?
And 9 is after number 6.
So number 6, I wonder if we should, I wonder because this is what recreation is doing, if we should take that out of this, since it's really not. Like installation of the accessible
We have
dock.
to insist that it's going out of every other
Yeah.
proposal.
Yeah, I think we just comment, this is something in the
That-
works with our Department of Rec.
Exactly.
Yeah, because it makes
Then
it sound like
there's
it's
no
part of this
other-
Yeah, yeah.
proposal. That's my only thing is,
Yeah.
does it need to be
We-
part of
we-
this
we said
So it's
proposal?
done
So-
anyway, we can reference it, or
Yeah.
it's done out of, taken
Yeah.
out of all other
We're
scenarios.
trying to make this simpler.
No,
Yeah,
that makes sense.
I would think, I had another conversation with somebody, they were probably all hearing, we've heard in these meetings about
Yeah.
people's concerns about finances.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
one thing people get irked with is something under the carpet, right?
Yeah, okay,
What do you
okay.
mean there was another $50,000?
Gotcha, gotcha,
So
gotcha.
I'd
Okay,
say,
yeah.
let's put it in there because it's something that we want.
okay,
And the
okay.
community is
I mean, that's
asked for
fine.
here, and
Yep.
then in the sources of funding.
It can come
you
through
know,
the
you could
recreation
say,
department, yeah.
Rec
This is
department,
something, yeah.
CPC application or something.
I'm okay.
That would be my thought, but to Sven's point, any other.
Yes, yes, yes.
Proposal that includes this should.
It's just I happen to have
not
met
say,
with,
well.
no, I just happened to see recreation out there and they put this into their application. So
Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure we're not like sounding like we're double dipping.
So, I didn't make any changes to any of this.
Mhm.
All I did was under the limited dredging sediment removal. In the documents that Delia sent us
Mhm.
at the end of last week, one of them actually is doing exactly what we want to do.
Yeah, that was good.
And although they draw the channel straight, I mean,
Yeah.
that's not so important, but they do indicate how one can use bioengineered
Mhm.
stuff. And also they're specifically making a gradient at 1% all the way down to ensure that. So I think that's actually really helpful. And I know there's a figure in the budget for that, but I didn't
Yep,
do
okay.
anything with that. So that was there. And then we had. Are we still in this? Yes. So we had some discussion last time about
Which number are you on now?
the
Criteria checklist 1, history and character.
Okay, is that where we are?
yes, sorry. So
I
Maintaining,
watch him, so I can say.
Yeah. Thank you, Sven, yeah.
I
We need you
I
there.
hadn't expected to be talking through this today. Totally. So we had some confusion, I think, over the passage of cool water species. I think somebody said, well, there's not that much temperature difference, there's only 1 degree, that and the issue is less about the temperature than it is about the passage. Because right now, as somebody pointed out, brook trout exist in some of the upper reaches and the cold streams. But when the temperature drops, they can't go anywhere. Even though they could, it would be an adequate temperature for them. By removing the dam, we enable that cool water species to be able to migrate back into the Assabet and mingle with the trout from the Assabet, which they all in summer retreat way back up towards the headwaters, but they do come down this far in the colder months.
So what I heard from the oars guy when he talked about the cold water fisheries, and he showed that map of where there was, and he probably didn't know that. So he showed where there is currently cold water fish, and that the 1 degree in the summer was not going to be enough for that to be a passage back and forth for that.
No.
Maybe now it is, but that would be now anyway, because the whole pond is cooler. I'm going to finish my sentence.
Right.
And from, let's say, November through April, it's cold enough now anyway. If there was a fish passage, they would have that access, but we're never going to get those cold water folks up at the top to pass through this stream year round. That the 1 degree is not going to do it. But we already, if there was a fish passage, no matter whether there was a dam or not, these
But it's
fish would
sorry.
pass. Sorry.
No, you're right.
These fish would pass through the fish passage for 9 months out of the year.
Yeah.
No matter which
That's right.
scenario you go for.
Right, but we're dam removal. So it is
Exactly.
kind
You're
of,
making it sound like our 1 degree difference is the thing that's
No,
allowing
that's not.
passage of all
Yeah,
these
but we
fish. back
don't
and forth.
know if the other groups propose fish letters
No,
or
no,
whatever.
it doesn't
We are
matter.
looking purely
Yeah.
at our
okay, so
scenario.
you're saying that, okay, I think I get what you're saying, because I do, I mean, I think you just did this too while you were explaining it. The 1 degree is not the big deal.
It's not,
So I think,
the temperature isn't the issue.
I think pull out the temperature stuff, because I think that's confusing the issue.
Mhm.
I think focus on the fact that, yes, they're up there, we're not looking to give them we're looking to connect, not habitat, not create new
And
habitat.
the temperature stuff is not in there.
It's
Isn't
in
it?
the footnote.
I thought I had taken temperature. Oh, right. No, you're right. There is, dam removal.
Well, you're saying you're
But-
extending breeding habitat, but
Right.
you're really not. Oh, you are 9 months out of the year, but that's extended now as long as there's fish passage.
But there is no fish passage.
But yeah,
no,
dam
not
removal
like
is
that.
fixed
Hang on, but, okay.
Yeah, but it's the fish passage that's providing the fish passage. It's not the
Not-
removal of the dam and
So-
providing a 1 degree difference. It's-
No, but the removing of the dam provides a
It's a
fish
fish
passage.
Okay, so that's what it needs to say.
Yeah,
So
That's
let's,
not what it says yet.
so the limiting factor.
Yeah.
Of these cold water fish moving
Yeah.
through is the dam.
Mhm.
The removing the pond removes 2 degrees, 1 degree Celsius.
Right,
So
right.
2 plus Fahrenheit degrees of warming in that short stretch. And our ability to incrementally improve that situation by avoiding that warming does benefit fish in the Assabet River and downstream, and fish in that stretch who, compared with a fish passage structure, again, just focusing on the benefits of reducing temperature would be an improvement. You could say it's a marginal improvement. You
Yeah.
could say it's not getting to that 20 degrees Celsius cold water
Yeah.
habitat, but it's getting closer to it. So in more parts of the year, our fish that favor cold water will be able to move throughout the system.
But
And-
why
and
more
we
parts of
heard-
the year, Jeff? Why much
Because-
more parts?
Because as you said, in the winter, the water.
And now it is now too, yeah.
And so as you look across the
Yeah.
timeline,
Yeah,
on
yeah.
an annual time cycle, more of the year would be cooler because you're lowering everything down °C.
That's,
So
that's
your
not what your
weeks of
guy said,
there-
though. I thought when we
Well,
asked
but he
him
also said
outright,
that, he also
no.
said that fish aren't so strict that they reach the temperature barrier and say, forget it, I'm not gonna
Yeah,
go
yeah.
there. They don't favor that water over a certain temperature, but, you know, they're explorers and they'll eventually, you know, they'll move through that warmer section
Anyway, yeah.
to another cool pocket. And that now, you know, more of this stream would be cooler instead of adding that heating. So whether we want to clarify that as a, you know, a limiting factor, I do think it's a value of dam removal, is removing this kind of thermal pollution from the whole downstream system.
We
Yeah.
have to think about how we word it. Like, how you just worded it right
Was
now.
much clearer.
If you could rewrite. I thought it was obviously written in
You win,
such a
you win.
way that it waves a big red flag.
Yeah.
Okay, I
Because
will.
we asked that question
Try to get-
specifically to the ORS guy. We said, so what does this really mean? Does it mean that we're now attracting cold water fish any more than is currently there? And he said, no. So I just want to make sure that that's clear.
All right, we will clarify,
We will
either.
clarify. I think we
Right.
settled it.
And yeah. All right, so that was, I talked to Bruce about the indigenous
good.
traditions in this area, and he said, although they don't have archaeological evidence of it because most of it's underwater, he can state categorically
Mm.
that the indigenous people used that area.
Oh, great.
And he said obviously the herring run was important, but for them it was the eel fishery
Okay,
that was most important. So I did put that.
awesome.
in.
Comment on the indigenous issues. I think I need to go back just a little bit. to-
Which section are we on?
To the,
So same
sorry.
criteria checking under that.
Sorry,
to
say-
lesser-
Criteria checking setting.
No, I think we're moving something
Well,
else.
we
though.
were-
Yeah, it's not history and character. Are we past?
History and fact.
Oh,
History and
we're going under-
character.
are we going back up to that?
C.
No,
Right after the.
history and character, yeah, so.
Which section of history and character?
The first question, A, the answer, yes. I just want to simply qualify, clarify, dam removal will restore
Yeah.
into the second line.
Yeah.
And indigenous traditions celebrating the spring herring run and eel fisheries. We don't know we'll restore those
Yeah.
activities, but
enable.
we'll enable.
Right,
or-
that's
or
very
restore
good.
them.
Yeah, that's a good
It will
point. Yeah.
Restore the thing and
Enable.
enable.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Mhm.
That's very good.
That's a better way to say it. Yeah, nice. Mm,
And then
Can you clarify what document you're looking at?
we're looking at our draft proposal, which
It's not
Just
yet.
It's
It's not available yet.
No.
So it's really discussion right now
For upcoming.
for an
presentation.
upcoming presentation when we'll
Yes.
publish this.
We will be
Wednesday.
presenting this on Wednesday.
And then does this get
actually.
published then and posted?
Yes, it will be.
Okay, so Wednesday it'll be available to the public.
So the next, I think of the page is numbered. Is done.
Why are no page numbers on this?
It won't be the same anyway, because every
Who
time we
did
pull it
that,
up.
Jeff?
Your next comments are under
Trying to
2A,
open
under
pages.
livability and values.
Yes, livability and values.
We're enhancing, where are you?
So,
Values.
it says increase, and then it's point A.
Is it still 1A?
No,
Oh,
2A.
2A. So
So,
under the history, sorry, I had sent a note about the pre-Civil War history on the site.
yeah, I know, so what I
Didn't make it.
said was that there's currently one of the signs on the Bruce Freeman rail trail acknowledges that, and it's actually where that mustering took place. So I don't know, I was questioning, do we need to duplicate that? Or,
Well, the actual, like the main captain's area was overlooking the pond,
Mhm.
which
Right.
is further down. The Bruce Freeman Trail is further down where the tents were set up.
Yeah,
But we do have a piece on the pond of pre-Civil War. For me, it's like, that's a big piece of history that is being
Yeah.
overlooked. Just
Put
add it in there,
If that, if that
doesn't hurt.
if because of that, more people agree to take them
Yeah.
down, we
Yeah.
just put the sign.
Yeah.
That's right.
Do you remember when
And the
you said-
cadets were using the pond at the time. So just, yeah, it's a
Like that.
piece of history.
I love it.
Do you really
Do
have
A.
to propose each and every kind of?
Oh, wait.
history?
No, it's
One,
not
yeah,
fair.
are you-
No, it would be good to do the big pieces of history. This is huge.
Yeah.
5,000 troops were on this land using this pond. Are you kidding me? If this happened in Concord Center, we would have another meadow dedicated to it.
Well, we can rename this whole thing for it.
I think that.
Believe me, if it were on the other side of town, we'd be taking houses down.
No,
We can
So,
we are
let's-
focusing on what we need to do. We don't need to focus on
Right.
or bring up is West Concord.
Okay, so let's put it in
That-
then.
that's not-
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
put it
I
in.
have
So let's
no
put it in.
He
problem.
said
I
we
think
put
we'll-
it in. He
yeah.
said we put it
My-
in.
Yeah, but we're not making fun of it.
Yeah,
No,
we
we're
can
not
also
making
not
fun.
making
Okay.
other arguments that are not connected to this. You're losing time.
Okay,
Yeah, Maria.
so let's put in the
I was,
history.
I was simply, the reason I was questioning
Yeah, please.
is for a cost reason. Because the more signs we put up, the more it
It
costs.
could be all one sign
But
that does the whole history.
I,
Of this thing.
I have,
The
I have.
idea of like a really
Yes.
interactive QR code thing, like we don't
Yeah,
really.
We're
know
not,
what
we're not doing the
that's
sign
about.
right now, right?
Zero
Yeah.
problem with putting it in.
Okay,
Let's say, yeah,
let's not design the sign.
Yeah.
exactly, because we'll want to get
That's
to
all I
one
said.
design.
Yeah.
Not
Okay.
for a dog.
Okay,
Now you can go number 2.
so then number two,
Yeah.
so. I know I've talked about this before, but
Mhm.
I put it in here. It says, proposed recreational amenities will provide better access to the area for users of all socioeconomic groups, providing walking access to all parts of the brook instead of limiting access to those with the use of a watercraft. Is that too controversial, or is that?
Yeah, I don't know that it's better because I don't know that I could get through walking in 2 feet of water. I don't know that's better than what's there today. Because you're saying I could walk more.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Through
because
the
we're putting
pond.
walk.
Oh, in the trails, with the trails.
You're not
Yes.
walking through it.
Oh, yeah, I mean, no, I mean, a fisherman might go up there and wade and.
Right, but yeah. So,
Walking.
okay, so provide better access because of the additional amenities that we're
Yes.
providing.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
okay.
And then I tried
Mm-hmm.
to say, so we go down to C. And qualified, yes, without mosquito larva counts from the existing Warner's Pond, it's difficult to quantify the current risk of mosquito breeding and make a comparison with the newly restored wetlands. This should be an early focus for the Board of Health to determine the potential risk for transmission of West Nile disease and EEEE, and whether any remedial actions will be required.
Okay.
And then common pond diseases, viral GI diseases, Shigella, E. coli, and swimmer's itch are not documented as a current problem with the pond, and a transition to flowing water will reduce any possible risks of these diseases.
Good,
Great.
That
we're all good.
better than
Yes.
Yeah.
it was before, and the others are just grammar. And then if we go on for ecological sustainability, I added under B, it says enhancing and improving fisheries habitat for diverse species. It said the restored stream will be cooler than the existing pond and will be connected to the Assabet River. Native species, brook trout, whitesucker, and shiner, which are the cold water species, will find better habitat in the restored stream and be able to move back and forth to the Assabet. And that's what the guy Morse said to us.
But should we say anything about any species we're losing here? Because it says we're
I
gonna
do-
increase the species.
I
We're gonna
do-
lose some, right?
I don't,
End of that paragraph. we
right,
did see-
so it goes
Mhm.
on the following page. It says restoration coupled with planned removal of the Talbot Mill Dam will restore habitat for anadromous fish
Mhm.
such as blueback herring, alewife shad, and American eel. Warm water species,
Mhm.
largemouth bass, yellow perch, smallmouth bass, and bluegill will continue to find habitat in the deep pool or along the stream banks as they do in sections of the Assabet, Sudbury, and Concord rivers. Because you can find all of
Mhm.
those warm
Okay.
water species in any of the
Hmm.
waterways, so they won't be eliminated. And then so we go on to E. Are we still in the same section?
Wait, are you opening, did you open Jeff's or Malcolm's?
Malcolm.
I think mine got wonky when I opened it up, and I
Yeah.
can't edit anything, so
It's okay, I see it, but I don't see the
Okay.
change markers. Yeah, so you're.
Oh,
have
you're
an
not
easier time
seeing the
following.
change.
Yeah.
So we're still in the same section E. Improving connectivity between different habitats to support migrating species. I haven't reread this to know whether I got it right. So I say yes, the Department of Fisheries and Wildlife and the Department of Marine Fisheries highlight the significance of an anadromous fish to both riverine systems and as a major food source for ocean predators such as cod, haddock, and sea bass. I think they also said something else as well. River herring, blueback herring, and alewife are listed as a species of concern. The DFW projects that removal of Warner's Pond Dam will benefit the fisheries for river herring, shad, eel, and sea lamprey, with spawning habitat in both Neshoba Brook and Fort Pond Brook. This is enhanced by the fact that the Talbot Mills Dam will have been removed before Warner's Pond Dam is removed. And I went back, that is all from that talk we had from
with the fisheries guy.
the fisheries
Yep.
guy.
Yeah.
So that clarifies a lot of that, I think.
Mhm.
And then, okay, per your suggestion, I took out all of the funding, all of the budgetary stuff,
Mhm.
except the one quote we have. We
Mhm.
actually are just about, I think, in a place to be able to fill in some of these other things at this point.
Mhm.
You're going to get the numbers on the historical
Yes,
sign.
yeah, he said he will.
Mhm.
Okay.
The improvement at ComAv, we can take from the previous thing, and put together. Giroux Park won't cost us anything.
Mhm.
The fishing and wildlife platform, we now can get from
One of
the,
those proposals had one for.
yes, it did.
Was it 30,000 or 40,000?
I can't
I've got
remember.
another document that's
Yeah,
open here.
yeah. I can't open my computer, so, but yes, they have exactly that.
Yeah,
in
that's good.
there.
Awesome.
And then we can reference all
Yeah.
the sources. It'd be
And
good.
the same with the dredging and sediment removal,
Mhm.
and the Riverfront Trail Network. So we can get all of those.
Mhm.
What
So
did I say?
from the material you got, clearly with respect to Fort Walks, is it cheaper than the
Much
original?
cheaper,
Yes.
much cheaper.
Yeah, and at some point, I just would like us as a group to review our trail plan to make
Yes.
sure we have the same plan in mind.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Indeed,
Trimming back to,
Yeah.
Just what's
Yeah.
required.
cost drivers.
Yeah.
right. And so about, it says here, are you using a sustainable funding source? I said, while we cannot proceed with funding applications until this proposal is approved, there are multiple funding sources available for the restoration of riverine habitat and support for anadromous fish. And I started to pull out, I made an annex
Mhm.
here, which I went through. I've identified 9 sources at the moment, that only focus on restoring fish habitat. And obviously there's a lot of money available. There's never any guarantee that
Mhm.
one will get it, but there are clearly sources. Funding is also available for the removal of dams that are dangerous or unstable. However, we doubt that this will be available to us, given that the dam was recently rebuilt and is likely to be downgraded from significant hazard to low hazard.
I think we just say recently rebuilt because we're not gonna pursue that, I don't think, before we do this. That's like a, right? The pursue the change from significant hazard to low hazard. That, like that, because
It might
that's.
benefit us to
Well-
do that, though, for costs even of the contractor and insurance of the bid.
Because we'd have to tangle that, because
Yeah,
the DER guy said, yeah, that could be counterproductive,
yeah,
because now any funders would say like, well.
right. So I think just like ended as recently.
Yeah,
Built,
sure.
and then.
I don't
We have to
think
figure it
that
out.
we're the ones who are going to decide that. I mean, to us, it's an advantage to not have it
Right,
downgraded, right?
But so then we just don't pursue
Maybe.
diverting.
But
I would.
we are not the entire task force, and we're not. Do you follow me?
I do, but it feels like the downgrading it, not downgrading it, seems like a whole other thing that is not part of this task force. Like right now, it's significant hazard. I don't think the task force has like the dragon group had like, maybe it's a good thing to follow up on, but it doesn't feel like
Okay.
something that's
Yeah.
part of
So,
what the task force is
Should I
doing.
just take that?
Yeah, I think
that
it's
last
ended it
line.
recently rebuilt,
Mhm.
yeah,
Just that the dam was recently rebuilt.
yeah.
Okay.
Cause
I
'cause
did- I
it's a
just-
whole other project, because you're gonna have to get downstream, I assume you're gonna have to get people who live downstream to agree that like it's a good idea to pursue that, because they're the ones who are.
Sure. No, that's
Yeah.
fine.
I wonder
I
if
just
it's-
didn't want to.
I don't- yeah, I guess I don't
Scientific
know,
thing or
yeah.
Engineering thing, I don't know.
Well, it wouldn't be engineering, because it's about who might be impact, I guess it would be
Yeah.
engineering. It's not engineering at all, it's about where the
It's not
water
what we
goes.
It's not how we feel.
So then E, being feasible from technical permitting and engineering perspectives. All I said was yes, the 30% basis of design report indicates that all of these aspects are both feasible and practical.
So when we say all of these aspects, the only thing the 30% basis of design report talks about is the removal of
Yeah,
the
that's a
dam,
good point.
not everything else we've talked about.
Yeah.
It's very, very focused.
Good.
Yeah,
And the dam removal is both feasible.
Mhm.
Let me just, sorry, this thought didn't spring right to mind when you were talking about 30% design, and not to sidetrack us, but that is 30%, right?
Yeah.
So if we had comments on that, now's the time.
But I don't
This
think-
document,
I
but
don't think that's what this, because I've been looking at other dam removal projects that went from 30 to 100. It really is focused on the dam.
Yeah.
And the removal of the dam. It's
saying
not,
Load this into the 30%, but I'm just
mhm.
parenthetically,
yeah.
if we still had any questions about like.
Oh, I
what's
see,
gonna
I
be
see, I
there,
see.
Yeah.
that's the
Yes,
purpose
yes,
of
yes,
it.
yes, yes. Which I think some of it was, what Dan has reported on.
Yeah.
And where we have wanted
Which
other
we might
things done,
figure out.
we've suggested adding them to the scope of
Mhm.
whoever is removing the dam.
Right, right, right.
You're right. And then the section that there was nothing on before was the stakeholders.
Right.
And I don't think I've captured all of the stakeholders necessarily. But, and this was just stream of consciousness thinking, so
Mhm.
just needs to.
Yeah, it's a good.
So
start.
abutters,
Mhm, mhm.
obviously a stakeholder, both upstream and downstream abutters.
Just for a second, Malcolm, maybe instead of reading now
Yeah.
2
Yep.
pages of new text, does everyone have access to this
Yes.
text? And
Yes.
do we
Oh, right.
want to?
Wouldn't just
Give you
read it,
comments.
seeing
eyeball
if-
it,
Yeah, that would help.
Raise any
Mhm.
thoughts?
Yeah, so the other pieces of this, which I know have been brought up now a little bit by Recreation also, is not just citizens of Concord, but users of the Bruce Friedman Trail.
I've got that, I've
Oh, you
got
do? Okay.
them as one of the. So just.
Oh, yeah, there they
users
are.
of The Bruce Street
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Trail is one of.
And then
the-
is MCI in here? As a,
MCI, we have no idea.
no, but they are in a butter. They are a direct abutter.
Yeah, but-
When the park was actually put out a request for comment from abutters, only 3 were identified. It was MCI and the 2 houses next door. So they are actually the most direct abutter.
Okay. So MCI.
Might say.
And it's hard to
MCI,
correct it.
we're focused on the prison walls. I'd say Department. of
Yes,
Corrections.
yeah, that's right.
Absolutely,
We're talking about
yes.
The field,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's DOC.
That's different.
Yeah, and especially since we think we want to ask them to be able to walk through the fields, we need
Yeah,
to
that's
be
true.
able to,
That's something I wanted to insert back. in
Yeah.
there of the if thens.
oh, yeah, okay, sorry, let me focus on the rest of these
Yeah.
users.
So then they're the only, that's the only missing part I could find. Malcolm.
I'm gonna take notes then I'll.
And should we say that, the trails and signage will be part of a public process, public input? Because it feels to me like those are things that we should probably reach out for. We're not gonna decide here.
Yeah.
Right? how to-
I'd say
what that goes into.
trail.
How comfort works, this will be always.
Yeah, because it's kind of saying like it's definitive within this proposal, but I think it's just part of a public process that will follow up for those things.
Where
Well, maybe it's under the users of the Bruce Freeman Trail will be part of, a public process for certain aspects. Citizens of Concord will be part of a public process. Somewhere in here, it's like, there's gonna be a public process that takes the input of these folks. Right, of stakeholders. Maybe it's the first part of stakeholder,
Or could be stakeholders, yeah.
like that whole
maybe
section,
Stakeholders would be involved and
so that
the
would,
ultimate.
public process of certain aspects of many aspects of this final design or something to that
so
effect.
You can
that
do
would
an
really
opening
be about
statement
a citizen
right
as a
after
whole.
stakeholder goals
Yep.
and concerns. You can do opening statement.
That would be good. Mhm.
This will.
Okay, because that came up from recreation too, is that we need to be doing more of that for these pieces, so. That would be good.
The ORS membership came to mind for me as a constituent.
Yes, I thought of
There-
that, but to be honest, I was written out by the time I got to that.
Oh, yeah. No criticism, because it's a great
This is a
service to
great
all of
outcome.
us to have this down.
Yeah,
A lot of work
Um,
for that.
But ORS, not only me or not only the staff who are down here at the Bradford Mill, but they estimate more than 300 members in Concord. So I'd like to propose language. for that,
Mhm.
which I-
Right, and the other one that I forgot is what is it called, the Wild and Scenic
River Stewardship.
River
Council.
Stewardship Council, that needs to be in here as well.
okay.
My neighbor's on the RSC, I could ask her for language or I could take. a
That would be
crack at
great.
Language, those
Yeah.
two paragraphs, ORS, I mean, they'll be short paragraphs, I think, ORS and RSC.
Are we missing stuff? Where's all the stuff about climate resilience? Didn't we,
It was in here.
where is, have I lost it?
Have I missed?
I feel like I don't see it anymore. And I just did a find and I don't see the word climate anywhere except for like one place. The naturalized stream march will alter as climate and environment change. but
You're quite right.
What did we?
So
Alright,
I
read it,
must
though.
have,
That,
because I
I
remember,
remember a section though.
right?
yeah, because you had a comment on it.
I did,
And I
yeah.
wanted to talk about that more as a group.
Yeah.
It's not in the document.
It is. It absolutely is.
Just can't find it.
Here,
With a quick search.
improving the resilience of the natural resource in the area of flooding events.
Where, where,
I'm trying to find, it's a G of 4G.
ah, there we go. Whew, okay.
Search help.
Under resilience.
I think I misspelled resilience.
Do it.
We stopped after resil.
There's nothing, there's nothing misspelled in there?
Oh.
I misspelled it. I absolutely.
Where
misspelled
is
it.
it?
So, underneath where the wetland, it's in that whole ecological stuff, it's under, ecological state sustainability. It's one of the last things there, right above fiscal sustainability.
Oh, yeah, okay.
I have no recollection. Oh, yeah.
Improving the resilience of the natural resource areas to flooding events. During the higher frequency 2 and 5 year events, the flood conditions are expected to slightly decrease, particularly in the south and southwestern portions. The extents of inundation and post dam removal burn to the 2500 and 500 year events are nearly equal to existing conditions.
Yeah, I think you have
Yeah, that's the
some
quote,
sort of.
but there's the
typo.
burnt is not the right word.
Yeah.
I don't know if you type that one, Jeff.
Oh, greenhouse gas emissions.
This is under the resilience section?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just the word, there's one word I think that was just mistyped.
In the
It
quote,
says
yeah.
burnt to the condition or something.
It says post remove dam removal content burn.
Yeah, I got that.
Page 15. It's like,
I think it's the- both the two
Have
words.
something different. That is what.
Oh,
we're looking at.
the
Contend
post-dam-
burnt.
No,
Contend
wait.
burnt.
I don't know what that means.
Is
Is that British English, Malcolm?
No, it's,
It's correct English, he would say.
So, yeah.
no, it's total nonsense.
So therefore British.
Scottish.
Scottish.
I
Welsh.
is Scottish. I see that for noon.
Yeah, I don't, so anyway, we just have to correct that. Whatever the quote was, it's got,
So-
we'll have to just find it.
Okay, it's a quote.
Yeah, it was a
Yeah.
quote from the
Okay.
report, yeah.
But
Don't
I,
make anything up, just.
I think the one thing that I think would, we briefly talked about this at
Okay.
our last meeting.
Yeah.
Is I think it would be useful to say that the things that are causing the 2500 and 500 year events to be not great are also man-made. I don't
Like
think we
what?
have the bridge. It's man-made.
Yeah, but that's not causing 500 year.
No, that's causing the flood to not change.
Yeah.
Remember, the whole thing is like
Yeah.
it stops water from going through. So the things that are preventing, that are causing the water to slow down are man-made. So I
But
think
those aren't
we,
gonna change if we remove the dam.
Yeah, that's
they
what
are not,
she's
but
trying
what
to
I'm,
say.
so yeah, I'm gonna take your.
No, I'm trying to
No,
understand.
Yeah,
so
so I think what we were
Yeah.
talking is about is
Yeah.
though, it leaves you the opportunity to incrementally improve, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it might not be 5, 10, it might be like 50 years from now, 25 years from now. They're at some point, they're gonna need to redo the bridge.
Yeah.
And this way you have the opportunity to redo it in a way that continues to improve the path of the water. If the dam's still there, who cares?
So I'm curious, because this is a little bit of the science of this, because I understand too, that part of what the bridge is doing is preventing the Assabet flooding from coming up this way too. It's a two-way street. Because where we got the worst flood, which flooded all of Brookside Place, their parking lot and their garage, was coming from down. It wasn't coming from the pond side. It wasn't coming from Fort Brook. It was coming from the Assabet.
Yeah,
And
but
so-
if Brookside had had any sense, they would never have built
No, but
on a low
it doesn't
point
matter.
on
But
the bank.
but what I'm saying is that bridge isn't preventing that 100 year flood because it's coming the other way. and It's actually preventing it from coming towards your house.
but I think
Not-
we were talking about the bridge also acting as a dam, like a second dam, right? I remember
Yeah.
I think
talking about-
this is not the scope of this.
Yeah.
This-
Yeah, I didn't
I don't think it makes it
Okay.
better.
Analyze the
Yeah, I
effect
don't think
of
it makes it
bridge
better or
and how
worse.
That's
this-
fair.
Yeah.
It's just something
No.
I've been thinking
I
about.
think
It may-
this is a
yeah.
factual statement of
Yeah.
what
Right.
happens
I
if we
agree. I
remove the
think it
dam.
is, yeah. I think there might be just as much good as bad on that one.
Yeah, that's right.
So we may equal each other out.
Okay. The other piece, I did say something about greenhouse gases.
Yes.
Where did you say that?
I,
Why isn't it in red?
Yeah.
I don't know.
no, that's the same as you wrote last
Yeah,
time.
that's,
Is
there
it? Okay,
was
that,
no change to it.
okay, perfect.
It was stable
Supposed to
before.
be a couple of meters.
That's why it's not in red.
Okay.
I do think though, do we know where we're getting this information? About, like, do we have something we can point to if people
For the
are
greenhouse
questioning
gases, yeah.
what we are saying about greenhouse gases? Like, this is
Oh.
one of those things that I'm like,
Yeah.
I have heard it from a gajillion different places, but I want to be able to point to a source. if
So
somebody's
we
asking
we
me.
need a specific
source.
Yeah.
source.
Okay.
With a little bit of
Okay.
facts, yeah. to it.
Yeah, that's just that because it's such a,
It's a
No, that's
scientific thing
That's a
that
very
Yeah.
good
we can
point.
find facts.
I had started where things are, is to start putting in source
yeah,
information.
that's fair.
But I'm sure there's a lot of other places where we.
Yeah, I think that was the one that like, I feel like I remember taking notes on a couple, but that was the one that I was like, that
Yeah.
feels like a really important place to have it because the concept of reducing greenhouse gas is
Yeah,
central to
Absolutely.
Concord's climate goals and.
yeah. Mhm. Yeah, there was an article on NPR this evening about Phragmites. Did anybody hear it?
No.
Interesting.
Sorry to turn
I'm
off.
trying to avoid the news
Yeah.
lately, yeah.
I found that quote from the 30% design.
I'm curious what it actually was.
Instead of content burnt.
Yeah,
it was
what else do you got?
Conditions during.
Oh, that's much better. That's a better English.
Face of fire.
That's better Scottish than I've ever heard.
It's no Scottish at all, it's Irish. What is it?
It says, the new sentence, the appropriate sentence, says the extents of inundation in post-dam removal conditions during the 25-year, 100-year, and 500-year events are nearly equal to existing conditions.
During
Conditions
during a 25-year, or
the-
during
the 25 year.
2,500
V.
events are nearly equal to.
So we're just replacing
Yeah.
content burnt with conditions.
How that?
Burn.
I
That's
think I was
definitely-
retyping it
Yeah.
and I just.
Yeah, it just
Checking,
auto-corrected.
because
Yeah.
Autocorrect.
Yeah.
That was a,
Yeah,
yeah.
totally.
Artificial intelligence.
So smart.
Are you implying I don't have ordinary intelligence?
He said he's typing.
The new AI, actual intelligence.
Okay, are we through?
One other if then up above, sorry, I didn't capture this as I'm trying to catch your minutes also. The trail layout assumes approval from Department of Corrections to use the
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
the cornfields.
That's
So
right, that's right, that's
that
right.
would be-
So that's one of the if thens.
Yeah, that's right. And does that go into permits or no? They don't have to give you, is it an easement, like an access easement?
Yeah.
We probably are gonna have to,
Trail.
In the
Yeah.
same way that the dam removal group is talking about, they said there would just be a letter of.
Yes, we should
letter of agreement.
connect with Jeff about, if
Yeah.
that seems.
Okay.
Okay. So at some point I would like to look at that trail
Yeah.
because that gets us to costing also,
Cause you're doing linear feet of stuff.
right? And there's, would we want a section that would like to require a boardwalk or just do a surface trail?
So is that how you're coming up with the numbers with linear feet of each component?
Yeah.
Okay. Mhm.
So what else do we need before Wednesday, before we are starting kind of?
Well, certainly we should relook at the trails because we need to present that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When
Do
you're
we need
talking
slides
about
on
it,
that?
are you talking about
We
this
do.
potential trail?
Yeah.
one?
Yeah. And that was
Two broadwalk and then, I guess. the
We have different
Yeah.
kinds of trails, right? We have
Okay.
trails through wetlands,
Different
trails
options.
on
Yeah.
Department of Corrections, and then we have crossings that are more bridge-like, right?
So
It's
the
the
trail that's
realistic-
in figure 2 right now.
Oh, sorry, I just
Go ahead.
remembered in the note that I took about, I'm sorry, about the stakeholders. Because I don't think we finished the stakeholder, well, we did, I guess, but, I forgot, so.
Yeah.
No, not,
Forgot it again?
no, I found it, I couldn't remember what one it is. It's not the abutters, it's the current users of the pond for paddling, fishing, and other recreational.
Mhm.
I kind of feel like we just. I don't think we want to wait until like whether or not swimming is gonna be possible, because we haven't really done any thinking or looking into this.
And this is listed as a user.
Yeah, it's for the
Oh.
current users. It's like, in addition, we are hopeful that with the completion of Jarrell Park, swimming will again be possible in the deep pool. I feel like just let's,
Remain agnostic. on
Yeah.
that. It's complicated.
yes, we just don't have, yeah.
Mhm, mhm.
It's something I feel like we've talked about a bunch of times, but we never really
Yep.
dug in on.
Especially with the depth, literally dug.
Well, I think Sven raised a very good point about, if the town is formally encouraging swimming,
Mhm.
then we absolutely have to have clarity about PFAS.
Mm.
Because that's,
Do we have that in other swimming pools in the town? Do we do that? Like White's and
The,
Walden?
the
and-
issue, okay,
yeah.
the issue on PFAS, just to go in.
For
a
swimming.
little bit is. The standards and the limits are evolving.
Mhm.
So the standards set by the EPA right now are just for drinking water.
Yeah,
We know, because one of our water sources is Nagar Pond. we know that our Nagok Pond water is more or less a factor 2.5 above
Mhm.
the limit for drinking water.
Right, right.
Yeah, so we know more or less the water that is coming down there has a significant or a significant amount of PFAS over and above to be qualified as drinking.
Mhm.
It's the same watershed.
It's the same.
Yeah, the same,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, and we could even expect, given it's more coming in and it's
Higher
it
concentration.
could be a higher concentration. So there are two elements to it. One is how much of the PFAS is going into the sediment. That's my main comments around the
Mhm.
dredging,
Yes.
which is not our main concern here.
Mhm.
And the other one is, will there be sooner or later kind of a standard around swimming, water you can swim in?
Yeah.
I think is at the moment, is there swimming water standard? What I hear that might be the farthest out, so that's not
Yeah.
short term. If you look at what Maine is doing on limits in what with respect to sediments and where stuff can put it on fields,
Mhm.
yeah, that is very concrete. Yeah, Maine
Okay.
shut down several
Yeah,
farms
A lot of them, yeah.
because there was too much PFAS in the fields.
Okay.
Yeah,
Right.
so we can expect that similar regulation trickles down to Massachusetts sooner or later. Might be with the current federal administration later than sooner, but who knows? But that's state level regulation.
So
So
can we say that it would be the same for all swimming in Concord? Because I
No.
worry,
No.
why wouldn't
No,
it be?
because
that
this is fed by.
No,
by
same
a stream.
regulations. Wouldn't
Okay,
it, same
regulation
regulations?
would
Yeah,
be
but-
the
So
same.
we could say we're gonna follow the same regulations for all swimming in Concord for PFAS
yeah,
limitations.
but we know from the
Yeah, we'll test it and see.
But
If-
we're, we're not gonna
If
talk
it
about.
follows
I
the
don't-
regulation.
I haven't even got it in here.
Yeah, we're not
We
gonna talk
don't
about,
need
we
to.
pulled out the
This is
switch.
just-
Yeah, so
Okay.
I would say for us, it's less as an issue than for the dredging part.
Mm,
Yeah, that's why I bring
Gotcha.
this all the time.
Yeah,
What
sorry,
about you?
sorry, I diverted us on.
Okay,
things.
okay.
It's not
Yeah, it's
relevant.
We're not adding it.
On
Okay, okay,
stakeholders,
okay.
what about indigenous people?
Oh, for the, nah, they're not.
This is public. Yeah, this is public.
You don't need that line, man.
No, that was not
Uh,
intended.
definitely good catch.
I have added indigenous people.
And I think it'd be good to get some input from Bruce about
Yes.
what he thinks the concerns are.
Yeah, yeah, it's like we're asking those.
Yeah,
Jeff to
yeah.
write that other section.
Yeah.
We asked Bruce to write this. piece.
Yep.
Mhm.
I thought Bruce's comment, and it was wonderful. Sort of basically, he seemed to be saying, well, the elders say whatever you white people want to do, you're just going to go and do it anyway, so.
Isn't that awful?
So.
Kind of change that.
Want to talk about trails
Yeah, do we
Yes.
want to pull
a
it?
little bit?
Yes.
So we really haven't changed much from the sketch that we came up with
Yeah.
a couple months ago, which is fine. And that showed the concept of a trail coming out of Giroux into the cornfields.
Yeah.
Stay
Down.
tight to the northwest corner
Mhm.
of Warden's Pond, maybe.
Can you zoom in, Jeff? Is that the trail map?
Yeah.
Can you
Maybe
zoom in?
even crossing some damp ground in a way that would require sections of boardwalk, then.
That's the yellow piece.
That's the yellow, then
Okay.
surface trail in red.
Yeah.
Then a long raised boardwalk across
Yeah.
the marsh and
Yeah.
stream channel. Then surface trail along this peninsula of town-owned land
Mhm.
that is north of Losbrook Road.
Yeah.
And then sidewalk back to.
The Bruce Freeman.
Rail Trail.
Yeah.
or call that. So Delia mentioned in that, after we made that first kind of quick hit presentation.
yeah.
She said you might think twice about how close you're proposing a trail to the pond and slash what would be upper
Yeah.
marsh at that point, because any proposed work within the buffer area
Mm.
requires an alternatives analysis. And the
Mhm.
first question would be,
Isn't that
why
25
aren't you
feet
further
then?
away?
Yeah, like 25 feet,
Right,
is that
yeah,
the number? Okay,
25
yeah, okay.
noticed, or 50 and
Yeah,
100 feet.
yeah.
You can, and then even 200 feet from a river. So I would propose both to get away from the expensive boardwalk, to get away from the edge of the wetland, even though we want people to be near the edge of the wetland. For simplicity, straight lines to just tee right off
I
the
see,
Freeman
yeah.
down what's currently a kind of a dirt farm access road
Mm,
down the center
Yeah.
of the
Right,
cornfields.
that's interesting.
That's built to be
Straight-
dry.
No, okay, I'm just gonna play devil's advocate.
Yeah.
I'm gonna play Liz right
Yeah.
now. Because there's so much of this is off the edge of this thing, right? Because the Bruce Freeman Trail and Giroux Park is not that close.
Right.
Like, it's so nice to have some piece of this that
Yeah.
actually hugs. Couldn't we push that just to 25 feet away? Like, I'm just looking at the blind.
Yes.
Yeah, but then you're getting back.
Just
yeah,
push this to 25 feet
You're
away
probably getting
in a shorter
DOD.
boardwalk.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
this boardwalk would get shortened to half its length.
Yep.
This would go 25 feet away. It would connect, let's just say it connects straight through into this piece. It shortens a lot because it gets rid of this loop-de-loop here. And then if you did this, I don't know if you can get 25 feet away from both sides, but maybe it's right through the center of
Right.
that.
And this one
And
would
that's
be
what it
just
is.
kind of a walking surface trail.
Yeah,
Mm.
The
exactly.
one,
That's an outline.
Because then that piece of it is different than the rest of it, Jeff. I guess it feels to me like some of it should be
Want to move
different.
that section now.
My
Then you was
super
there.
simplified version is
What
coming.
Yeah.
was hers? I didn't see her because I wasn't.
Vicky just said, you know, let's compromise with getting it as close as possible while saving as much money and
Right.
making it permissible.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's
Okay, but it
probably
still
half
needs-
its length.
Department of Correction. so.
Both of them, any of it's gonna need
Yeah, it's
it.
all been.
But it's
It was, it
short.
was like thinking about the walk, right? Like, I
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
wanna walk down the middle of that
True.
road, like,
be
especially like
much
if you
better
think
to
about
have
the summer,
food
like, no
stations.
one's
And
gonna
I
go
would think
there.
we should try it.
Yeah.
If it doesn't work, we have another option.
Yeah. And
And if they sell
The-
it, God forbid, or they want to
they-
plant it,
does
they
that,
want the middle of it for themselves.
I guess
That's
it
all
does have
covered
the
by
bridge.
conservation.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean,
yeah.
it's all covered by.
I see.
And I was looking the other day at the bridge,
Mhm.
on the possible bridge sites. I know you've done all of this. Certainly that whole thing underneath the Bruce Freeman Trail.
Okay, so now you're talking about getting over the
Bridging the
right
Sherwood
road.
Road.
Okay.
getting
Yeah,
over
that's
the
a
Sherwood
separate
Road. Okay,
piece.
yep, go ahead.
I mean, I hadn't realized just how they had left the whole abutments for the railroad
Right.
still there. I mean, essentially you could pop a couple of planks over
Yeah, I know,
and
I
just
know.
walk over.
Well, they kind of just took away a few planks. That's what they did.
Yeah, so that,
So that would be the easiest. It's a little weird, sort of going and there, walking underneath all of that, but it works.
it works.
Yeah,
And I don't know about that steel structure. I'd like to get that steel structure removed, either removed or turned into something.
Or it becomes the.
It's
Or we
always
could move the
that-
steel, yeah.
that
Yeah.
bridge. So I think this is the way we have our wish list ordered is the right road connection first.
yeah.
In terms of trails. And then one could say, like, all right, now we can circumnavigate the whole
Right,
thing.
right.
We walk down the lovely dirt path
Yeah.
alongside the
Mhm.
western side of the Sherwood Brook.
Yeah.
Then you walk down the middle of Wright Road.
Yeah.
I think there are sidewalks there. It's quite enough road that you can
It
use it
doesn't
without
matter.
sidewalks, but there are sidewalks there. And then you're down Lost Brook. So that would be the cheapest option.
Can I throw in, sorry, are Wrights Road, people considered abutters?
Yes.
Yes.
Cause
Yeah,
I
they
just,
are.
I don't know if we wanna throw in there that with the connection, they could see more traffic of pedestrians.
Yep.
But I guess that's really like.
They're
all
gonna
they could
be,
do is
they're
that,
gonna
right?
be, served a notice.
Yeah, I know,
for-
okay.
Yeah, about.
And it is a
If we
public
get that.
highway that goes down there.
Okay,
Right road itself.
Yeah.
Sure.
it's right
Yeah.
road
Um,
itself.
yeah,
But I used to scramble across that old train bridge that was where the
Yeah.
overpass now is. And so I miss being able to do that loop. And I know folks who live on the right road and those upper developments over there who are like, the Bruce Freeman is so close and yet so far. Like,
Yeah, I
get
know,
there.
they're
So
gonna want to.
I think it would be a really nice connection.
I think
coming in
I
that
agree.
direction Too.
The other thing, and I don't know, can we look, if you got the map, does anybody know this area particularly? I was told, actually, I wasn't told, my wife told me
Mhm.
that she had been talking to people who
Mhm.
said there is a whole network of trails
Yeah, there are.
in
yeah.
here.
Yeah, there are people who, yeah, I've gone to someone's house back there and they
Okay.
come through.
I was unaware of that.
Well, there's this trail.
Yeah.
Oh,
there.
actually, we should-
And then I,
So there,
Yeah,
sorry,
I
there
don't
are
know.
no sidewalks
Right.
on my
Yeah.
road.
May I comment on that? I grew up there. I spent 20 years walking in the woods behind Bayberry Road
You can
and
take,
all through Acton.
sorry, we
Have
can't
public
take public
comment,
comment
yeah.
right now. We'll come back. Lorraine, hold that thought.
Okay, so in terms of costing, I wrote down some numbers from
Okay.
these 4 proposals
Mhm.
that Sumco shared with us, which is like amazing that they shared us.
I know that.
all
was
their
really
No, their
costs and
entire
everything.
budget.
It's great. So, every project is a little bit different, but
Mhm.
they have some ranges, and this one was $50 a foot or $500 a foot. This one was
Mhm.
800 or whatever. So we have some multiples to work with.
Mhm.
And maybe I'll try to, I don't know, I'll come up with some ranges or some very round
That'd be really
figures.
good.
And we
that we
should put a year to them because there's escalation. So
Right.
just typically estimates,
Right.
provide
And
escalation
then
on a year
try
by
to
year.
drop that in for
Yep.
our trail costs.
Yep.
So how do we want to assemble all this information
Yeah.
before Wednesday and
Who-
then
I
And
have
who's
be
going to
border
present?
pass, unfortunately, so,
tonight?
yeah.
Okay, so we have 15 minutes as a group and
We
who wants to
can do
present?
more.
I'm
Just that I have to-
already presenting something else on Wednesday,
All right,
so I
your
don't want to have
survey.
to do both.
Do you want to present, Jeff?
I'm happy to
Yeah, I
present.
feel like we just
Yeah.
do it.
Okay. So we have Malcolm's version. Step 1, you made some changes tonight, but you were
Yeah,
typing.
I
or no,
better-
You were writing.
I was
You wanna
writing
just
them
give
here,
those
so
to
I'll
Jeff?
get.
Because you've made them in real life.
I
Did you?
He was taking the
haven't.
Oh, you haven't been doing that.
But I
Okay,
can
okay.
hang on to that document, or you could send me a copy, or you could put those changes into your version and send me.
I'll put these changes in tonight.
Great.
Okay, and we'll accept all other
Great.
changes.
Yep.
If Malcolm's captured things.
Yep.
I'll put together some comments from RSC or capture as stakeholders, the River Stewardship Council
Yep.
and ORS.
And the other
Did other
right
people
road
have-
abutters.
Do we have to do that or if they're just covered off in there?
Well, no, I think we're putting all the abutters in, right? So
Okay.
we should put them in. There was one other one I thought. Indigenous people.
Indigenous. Yeah.
Indigenous.
Maybe
Gotta
we
reach
could
out to
put that
the-
as, like, we could say, I could reach out to
Stakeholders.
or say,
Yeah.
this is a section we need some help on.
Mhm.
I wonder for the, because I think the stakeholder just says abutters, so maybe just like spell out which streets have abutters, so like abutters are on Wright Road, Lost Brook, Pond.
Manuel.
And I'll include that consideration.
Yeah.
of, part of our trail proposal will include some connectivity around road, which benefit, but would also involve some foot traffic. So were there other sections folks were going to
Follow up.
write whole cloth that we needed?
No, I think we
those
just
were-
made you do it all.
Okay.
You- The fish, but
And
no,
that fish language, which I try to
Yeah.
capture in a minute.
The fishing language.
Speak for the fish. Then, so we show up with a document on Wednesday night, I could send it back out.
Are you doing the plan? Are you changing those,
We'll try
The
to
route.
update the trip, update
the trail
clean
route?
up trails.
what is this, big red arrow?
That is like a.
Oh, because that's like, this is MCI. We have
Yeah,
no idea.
landscape architect. Somewhere up there, the trail. Connectivity.
All right. They'll do that
Yeah,
later, okay.
I do like the spirit of like, we've got this trail that.
Yeah, 'cause that's what I like, I love,
I-
yeah. You wanna,
Yeah, for sure.
you don't want to airport, you want to walk through.
Then
Field areas.
how do we envision graphics, walking through this proposal? I don't want to.
Well, I think last time they put it up on the screen and it was pretty helpful. Just click through like a
Okay.
PowerPoint. Yeah.
But this document on the screen.
Just scroll through it.
And this didn't use their template, right?
Whole document during the
I
presentation.
guess so. I mean, it doesn't use the
I think
template.
it would.
No, it goes
I think
along
it
the
would be
template.
much better
If we
to
could
have
paste it on slides.
PowerPoint slides. This could be distributed to people,
Right.
but I personally find it fairly unintelligible.
Yeah.
When people are just scrolling through a large
Yeah.
document.
Okay, so I will get your thing by the morning. I will add some language. I will cut paste onto some slides in some reasonable fashion, the highlights.
So maybe you
I'll
just do the
send
sections,
all of
section
the-
1, section
Yeah.
2, section 3, section 4, and then everything else is
I'll
said.
send the document to the coordinating team. And so that'll go out. Folks won't have a ton of time to look at it.
Yeah.
but maybe get out by tomorrow afternoon, in midday.
Yeah,
I
I
asked-
forgot that today was a holiday, so obviously Toby hasn't been doing anything
Mm,
today.
mm.
Do we want to, because the proposal is just like, it'll use a 30% document, do you think it's useful for someone to kind of summarize what the 30% document is saying for how to remove the dam and what that is?
Yes.
Because we're just kind of like,
Well, no, it does. It goes through step by step in here. There's that whole like 10 steps of what the dam removal.
We
says.
took that out of the 30%.
That's true, yeah.
We copied that
Here.
over.
okay,
That is
do
exactly
you
what
think
they're
that's
doing.
enough?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
but I guess I'm saying like the things like we were talking about, like they're gonna remove the berm, we're talking about removing the berm,
Section.
leaving in that little middle berm.
I'll have a slide of
But
the.
okay, I'll have a
Yeah.
slide. Yeah, I just want to make sure we like,
This is what we're talking.
yeah,
Very good.
reference it somehow,
Yeah.
okay.
So just a question, and it might be because I have no idea about
Yeah.
it. So we presented 3 different trail options when we were going through like quick.
Oh, yeah, this is, now we're down to one.
Oh, okay, okay. I was like, are we presenting 3 different?
No,
options?
we're
So
down
this is
to
the
one.
one in this document is
Yeah.
the one that we
Yeah.
have. Okay.
So we had presented, if you remember, 3 scenarios and the task
Mhm.
force says, pursue this one.
Yeah,
And this is what we've been now working on is that
Okay.
one scenario.
because we wanted to capture everything that we want to, and then later on.
Yeah, that's
if
what
we
they
have to
asked for and they
do
could
that,
take
we-
stuff out
yeah.
if you wanted
I
to.
remember talking about.
And with the proviso that this is just our suggestion, we are not laying down.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You know, categorically.
Anything
this
could
is the way
happen
it's
now,
gonna be. Yeah.
One thing, Malcolm, I can't remember now. In here, did you write a presumption that we should have channel stabilization like they had in Worcester?
I
Yes.
think I did, yes. I,
didn't know.
I think it's dependent on that.
I did say that, and I've referenced that page from the Worcester thing, and of course, I can't,
That's all right.
oh, right, yes, I did. I said, under limited dredging and sediment removal, in this proposal, no, well, existing bathymetry and analysis of recent area lead to the conclusion that post-dam removal channel would form some distance. So that's from the other thing. And then I said, mobilize, limited sediment will be,
And
In this
mitigation,
proposal, contractors and equipment mobilized for dam removal would also perform limited sediment removal. Is that what we're talking?
yeah, to
Uh,
maintain a constant slope and install bioengineered flow deflectors to, because we wanted to,
See a Ned question.
and then bring it just, oh, see annex, yeah, not annex.
And are they called annexes? Is this another Britishization?
This is a.
It's an appendix.
I mean, I think we'll all.
What do you
Welcome to the
But
United
I
States.
had my appendix removed.
It's here. Here's where it is.
I see it.
I saw it and I wasn't sure.
So they're all.
You mean I've got to change
appendices.
everything to a
Appendix A, Appendix B.
And you mean I have been writing annex for the last 40 years?
Yeah.
No,
And nobody told me.
We're your-
British.
We're your friends, Malcolm.
I have to side on his, I see so many documents prepared by American lawyers and so
You're
on.
pro annex?
I'm pro annex because it's in there, it's too much.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not worth it. Yeah,
Some
we all know
words
what
we
it
can
is.
Wrap our heads around
But
it.
yeah, I don't know. At some point, somebody's gonna change it to
Okay,
appendix.
I would only, I'd only
Okay.
suggest, since we don't know like what's required in the engineering, to say if needed or something to that.
Mhm.
effect.
You could just make it change it for you. You could just say find all
Oh, yeah.
and
Yeah,
append, and change it to
There's
this.
And
more
I will-
appendixes.
I gave I gave
would-
the appendices.
Look at you learning all the right
So
words.
are we gonna put it, I remember way back when you, Jeff found some like stock images of fishing platforms and
Yeah.
stuff like that. Will we put some of that kind of stuff in the
Yeah.
presentation?
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's
I'm
good.
trying to think about some of the other things that we might want to find to put in terms of graphics and.
I wouldn't go too far. Again,
Not
this
too
is
far,
not the
yeah.
end of the end. Like we've got still a few more
That's fair.
steps to go.
That's fair.
I kind of feel like this is a proposal. We still have public process to go
Yeah.
through. We still have the task force comments to get through.
I think we did the extent, this is extensive.
Absolutely,
document.
yeah.
I think this, we should be proud of.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Good teamwork. Definitely the biggest question is around the budget.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we're still not
Yeah,
quite there, we're much further ahead, I think, than the other teams, but, so we can drop in some estimates. Will we have all the estimates by tomorrow, send things
Yeah.
out? I don't think so.
I'm not
Yeah,
sure
so
if
the
we
only-
get Alice's
so-
number on the signage. one time.
You could just say TBD. I think it doesn't have to be the end all be all for
I
now.
don't think that's a big deal.
I don't think. it's
Okay,
end all.
good.
Obviously, the next round is gonna have to put some numbers.
Yeah,
behind
yeah.
it. But it's quite possible that the task force will have feedback that requires that we change some of this.
That's right. And when we do our public meeting, it could change things too. And so, let's not.
I think by the
button it
public
up too
meeting.
much.
Should have.
Oh, we definitely
Because
must
there's gonna be
have.
a
So,
lot of
uh,
interest.
but-
because
Yeah, so the
there's-
question I have on
costs.
budgets, just because they're so hard, numbers,
Mm-hmm.
and people, if you get them wrong, they don't forget. So I know the dredging group is getting a professional cost estimator.
Mhm.
So they're gonna have a number from a professional cost estimator. And then the No Action Group has some numbers. I don't know how they're doing it. I just want to make sure that as a task force, we're presenting apples to apples numbers so that we can say to the public, these were all done by professional cost estimators, and this one's $1, this one's $2, this one's $3.
Well, are they doing the dredging one with Sumco also? For the cost estimating, does
I think
that?
they are.
So it's just, for us too, it's the same estimators, so.
But we need them to estimate these items.
Yeah.
Well,
Because I don't want to just pull it, this one we got from
we
here from
can bring that-
2021, this one we got from here
So
from
we can bring
2020.
up to the task.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we
Right.
should.
Just making sure
Yeah.
the stuff is apples to
Yeah.
apples.
Exactly.
But, I mean.
Because
this
God
is-
forbid,
I
we
mean,
put a
th-
number
yeah.
out there and then it's like half as much or twice as much, and
Yeah.
then that number becomes questioned
That
forever.
is why Delia shared those.
Yeah.
Because they are all,
They're bids, yeah.
they're projects that are actually in process now.
Yeah.
So they're as good as we can get without having a specific design
I just know
and
from
getting someone to.
my work, when I use my per unit price for multifamily, and it's always off. 100% of the time.
Generally,
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah, well, it's like.
Even though I've
Try
built
to get-
thousands
yeah.
of units a year, I still can't get it right, so we have to get a contractor in to do our estimating, because it just doesn't, it never, ever. The
Putting a budget together for
subcontractors
the
are
building.
doing this. and Whatever the
Okay,
union is doing.
Sven has to depart shortly. Should we
Yep.
just do another
Public comment?
round of
Yeah,
public
you
comment?
can continue.
Okay.
For a minute.
So are we
So on web
wrapped up here?
stages, we have
Yeah,
Public
but-
Works Commission that goes exactly till 6, and I'm the chair.
Okay,
I can't leave early there, so I might run like
Yeah,
a couple of minutes.
there's always a few
You're the
things in
chair,
the
you can
beginning.
always cut the meeting short.
Yeah, that's my plan.
Yeah.
But you never know what public.
Yeah,
issues are
yeah,
coming.
yeah.
So, like, that goes on 2 town committees.
Likewise.
Thank you.
Okay, Sven, have a great one.
Are we through with our piece
I think.
of the
so.
agenda? So we're gonna open it up for public comment.
Lorraine.
Lorraine,
Regarding the-
oh no, I think Pam has her hand up. Pam?
Hi, Pamela Dritt, Concord Green, 13 Concord Green. I just want to urge you to err on the side of full transparency with all the information you have, especially when it comes to cost. If you could put the cost estimates include disclaimers, like the example of how much we expected the previous plan to cost and versus the bids received. Because I agree with what you said about when we put cost numbers in, they're going to hold us to it. But we've got to we cannot be sure. Any cost estimates cannot be sure.
Right.
And that protects you and also the public.
Thank
And
you.
if you also do costs to your best knowledge ranges,
Mhm.
not total amounts. I really think everything is economics, and if you don't promise a specific, then you won't be held accountable for that, because the intentions are good,
Right,
and we don't want to have them misconstrued.
thank you. Okay, Dan, I think you were up next. At least you turned your camera on.
Yeah, hi. So I just kind of wanted to follow through on my early comments, and I just want to be really clear on one thing first, because I don't have a bias towards one alternative or the other. I'm not I haven't even really decided myself personally and I say that in full honesty. So really, for each of these alternatives, what I'm trying to do is get a clear, and for the public, get a clear understanding of what the conditions will be. And in this specific alternative with dam removal, a lot of dam removals, as I heard, earlier from Lorraine and others, and absolutely correct. They're just ecological projects. You remove an obstruction, and what happens upstream just sort of, let nature take over, and that's fine. What makes this specific project different from those types of dam removal projects is that at least it's been inferred to the public over a series of public meetings for several years that this also has a recreational component. And that recreational component, consistent with the construction of Giroux recreation area, includes a more or less specific stream alignment. And I say more or less specific because it's got to accomplish two things. It's got to hydraulically connect to that proposed 4.5 acre pond, or there will not be a 4.5 acre pond. We do not have a spring-fed condition here. And I think by easement, but I may not be totally correct on this, it's got to provide water access to Scout Island. I think there's an assumption that at least during much of the year, whatever stream channel is created will be navigable, at least for a reasonable period of time. And I think there's a second assumption that the criteria for fish passage for the diadromous fish species that are being promoted here will be achievable with the new stream channel. So, from my background, this is pretty basic hydrology and hydraulics of what's going on here, but I'm, not trying to promote, I'm not the engineer. And I'm certainly not the engineer hired by the town. I'm just a citizen making comment. But so I would kind of rephrase my question then. And again, I'm not biased towards one alternative or the other. If they breach the dam, and it's a little bit more of as you guys were talking, it's a little bit more of what's called a dam breach rather than a full dam removal. And we wait those couple of years so we get some 1 and 2 year storms to let whatever channels are going to be created by natural erosion create. If at that time there is no 4.5 acre pond, there is no navigable channel, and there's no water connection to Scout Island, what will be the town's position? Will they commit to entering into another construction project at that time to create those? Or should, from the subcommittee's perspective, should some of these basic conditions, be a little bit more resolved with certainty, because there is an alternative under the dam removal alternative to actually engineer those features. Now, it will be at a higher cost, but it can be done. In fact, it's done somewhat often. So, but it's not done by just relying on natural erosion.
No, that's a good point, Dan. Thank you.
Thank you.
For the minutes, could you remind me your address, please?
Yeah, 20 Conant, West Concord.
All right, I think Lorraine, you wanted to give comment?
If you don't mind, I don't live in Concord now. I grew up on Bayberry Road, and I live in Ashland. My dad lived in Concord until 5 years ago. I spent 20 years walking in the woods behind where the Acton solar array is now, and all the way through the pine forest. I could take you on all those trails that you talked about a month ago. Walk down Wrights Road with having swum in the creek from Grace Chemical. So we had swimming lessons in the pond, covered in gunk. It's not clean water. It still isn't clean water. Never going to be swimmable. And I really agree, though, with what was just said about the even with partial removal, the channel is going to require dredging to. So that's part of in one of the proposals. There was a really troubling to in the meeting, and I put it in your notes on this recording, very strong preference for what I heard as development of recreation, not restoration of wildlife in the meeting I listened to on the September 10th. So I don't know, I don't quite understand your hierarchy of your different task forces, but the notes I made are that I would be concerned about putting people down Wright Road. I would be concerned about trash on those trails, and I would. My bias is very strongly towards nature restoration and the potential of making a more continuous flow of the river. So those are just some of my general comments. Thanks for listening.
Thank you. Are there any other public comments?
I guess it's just a.
Hearing none. No, I think that was there from before. Hearing none, we're going to close the public comment, and I can close the meeting, or does somebody have to move?
No, the chair closes it.
I'm closing this meeting.
Thank you.
At 8:19 p.m. Thank you, everybody. Thanks for attending. We really appreciate everyone being here. Bye-bye.